The result of those 30 shots.
Daddy, I don't want you to fall. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? You
My
broke
back is broken.
what? A vertebrae or what portion?
No.
People helped me when I was in need, so I know if everybody can do something small, it can make just a world of difference.
Purchase participating items at Walmart to help secure a meal for someone in need.
Hello, freak bitches.
So let's talk about this rematch.
Which one? Nate Diaz and Conor
Conor
McGregor?
McGregor. What are they fighting at? 55?
I do not know. I don't think that's been solidified. I believe that Conor has asked for it to take place at 70, which is where he was.
So he can say, like, I can do this?
Exactly the same weight, and then it won't be a factor, you know. But also, I think he was really healthy at 170, and I think he liked
Who was?
that. Conor. Like, I think he felt great leading up to the camp and leading up to the fight. He just had a bad game plan, and his ground game kind of got exposed.
2 weight classes above where he won a title?
It's not 2 weight classes. It's not true. First of all, they both weighed in almost exactly the same
No,
weight.
2 weight classes above where he won his title.
Yes, but not really. All it is they're not cutting weight. It's 2, but he's not
Well,
fighting.
one is not cutting weight.
Right, but he's not fighting like Damian Maia, who used to fight at 205 or 185, and he's cutting down.
I mean, at least it's not
to
title shots.
170.
At least it's not title shots where it's like you don't deserve a title shot on 2 weight classes above you. It's just a Nate Diaz fight.
Well, this isn't a title shot.
I'm
obviously.
saying at least it's
right.
not.
Well, you know the whole story behind it. There was a fallout. Rafael Dos Anjos, who's the lightweight champion, was supposed to be fighting Conor McGregor. He breaks his foot 11 days before the fight. Nate Diaz takes the fight on a drop of a hat with no training whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking none. He
None.
hadn't done anything.
He was at the store
Yeah, he was hanging.
hanging out.
And Nate, you know, posted pictures afterwards of him drinking tequila and hanging out in Mexico, eating tacos and shit. So he was just having a
2
party.
on 9, bitch.
He's just living his life, right?
Yeah.
But he's in such good shape that he can get away with that because he does so much triathlon training. He's constantly biking and swimming and running. He's entered into a bunch of triathlons. He's in very good shape. And so he was able to pull it off because his cardio base was so good. And he's a fucking damn good fighter. He's a damn good fighter.
And exciting,
fought,
too.
And he's fought legitimately at 170 twice. He lost. He lost to Stun Gun Kim, and he also lost to Rory McDonald at 170. These are legitimate 170s, and Rory being one of the best
Who has?
170s
Nate
in the
Diaz?
world. Yeah.
Okay.
He got ragdolled a little bit by Rory, but, you know, that was a wake-up call for him. He went back to 155, and at 155, in his last fight against Michael Johnson, he put on probably the best performance up to the Conor McGregor fight, the best performance of his career. He was fucking
So I didn't say 55
sensational.
because when I view Nate Diaz, I think of him as a 55er.
That's what he usually competes at. But for this fight, like, he didn't want to have to cut weight. It's only 11 days out.
Right.
He's a little heavy. So he says, look, let's make it at 170. They both agree. Nate weighed 169. Conor weighed 168, or maybe vice versa. I think that's it, though. So, I mean, they're basically the same size.
What would they fight at?
Well, they fought at 170. What do you mean?
I mean, when Nate said, I'll fight at 170, where was he walking at?
Probably a little heavier than that. He probably dieted and worked out real hard for 7 or 8 days of the 11.
And Connor
tapered off the
cut?
last couple. No, Connor didn't have to cut anything.
Okay.
I mean, if he cut anything, probably a couple pounds. So,
it's
which is nothing.
10
like, you
pounds
just don't
difference,
eat.
let's say. Not a biggest deal. That happens at
There's not
170.
even, but there's not even 10 pounds difference. They're the same weight. Like when they got into the octagon, I guarantee you they're within a pound or two of each other.
In the octagon?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Nate is longer and taller, and he's a very
It's tough.
good boxer. Like Nate spars on a regular basis with Andre Ward, who is one of the best pound for pound, if not the best pound for pound boxer in the world. Now that Floyd Mayweather's quote unquote retired,
Yeah.
Andre Ward is a motherfucker, and he just fought this Saturday night on HBO, and I just watched it the other day on DVR. It's fucking amazing. He's so good, dude. He's just nasty, and he's fighting at 175. He's gonna fight Sergey Kovalev, who's like the best 175er in the world.
So he fought
So
with him.
Nate spars with that guy on a regular basis. Like they're friends. And Nate also spars his brother Nick, who's one of the best strikers in the UFC. Definitely one of the best boxers. He's a very good boxer. And he also spars with Joe Schilling all the time, who is Glory World Champion, kickboxing World Champion. He's a motherfucker, man. So Nate is sparring with like high-level world-class strikers, like legitimate. Andre Ward, Joe Schilling, two world champions in two respective disciplines. So he's a bad motherfucker. I just think that people see him swearing and sticking up his double fingers, and they don't realize all that. Put all that shit aside and observe his movements.
Yeah.
Observe his movements in a fight. Like in the Michael Johnson fight, in the Gomi fight, in the Marcus Davis fight, in the Gray Maynard fight. Observe his movements. He's a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
When he tees off on you, he comes at you like a snake. He's got long ass arms.
Was that the
He's
Cerrone fight
slippery.
where it was the most
Yeah.
connections of all time, where it was like 80% of his strikes hit?
In the first round, he lit Donald up.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck? Nothing missed.
He lit Donald up. He fucked Donald up in that first round.
It was 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Donald started coming back with leg kicks. The only guy who's ever really successfully put him away in the UFC was Josh Thompson. And Josh Thompson is one of the most underrated guys. He's Josh Thompson, when he was at his best, left to go over to Strikeforce, and a lot of people missed out on some of the fucking wars that he had over there, and the Gilbert Melendez fights over there, and he went through a lot of wear and tear on you. But like skill for skill, Josh Thompson is a motherfucker, but he's like 36, and
Right.
time just starts to get everybody. But at his best, and I think that like his last fight with Nate Diaz, when he head kicked him, he stopped him, was one of like his best performances ever. Right. And then he had some losses after that. But again, it's hard to stay healthy and get through a camp when you're 36 years old. When those guys get to like, the late 30s, things start to get. So he has one loss, but the loss, in my opinion, one stoppage loss, but the loss to Thompson is like he's one of the most underrated guys.
So it's like solid loss.
Fuck yeah! It
So
doesn't get looked at as solid as it should be. I think Thompson at his best he's a motherfucker.
So so let's say he's a natural 170er. Let's say he wants to fight that Connor.
But he's not. He's not. He just wants to fight this fight at 170
to prove his point that he can win it?
To fight exactly the way they did it before, and to come in and fight in a better. This is what happened.
If they're going to do that, in the meantime, they should let Frankie and Aldo fight for a title.
I agree with
how
that.
long are you going to vacate the belt that you haven't defended once?
Max Holloway should be in the mix as well. I think they also offered Aldo a shot at McGregor, and he didn't take it.
That could be a Brazilian thing, if you know what I mean.
What are you saying, steroids?
Yeah.
Wait, I like how you made the injection like heroin.
They still do that? They still do that? Did I picture it?
I would say it was more like he's just unprepared and out of shape and didn't want to get knocked out again. The guy just knocked him out with one fucking punch a couple of months ago.
I remember a guy, but he's like, give me that rematch, give me that
rematch.
He
didn't know. See, he didn't know that Conor was going to get worked. When Conor got worked by Nate Diaz, it changed the whole game.
He's like, I can beat this guy.
Everything changed, man. Everything changed in everyone's approach to him. When you watch a guy get beat up and strangled like that, you got to pee again?
Yeah.
Go ahead, do it.
Keep talking about this, though.
Don't worry about it, man. But my point is, for the folks listening, when you watch a guy get beat up like Conor got beat up against Nate, and he shoots for a takedown and then gets taken down, Nate gets on top of him, beats him up, and then chokes him, and he taps real quick. Like Nate just dominated him once it got to the ground. He was already hurt when it got to the ground. Then everybody goes, okay. Could Rafael dos Anjos do this? And for a guy like Conor, I think one of the reasons why he wants this fight back is to prove that he fucked up. That he tried to take Nate out with big power bombs. He gassed out. He got tired. And then Nate boxed him up in the second round. Nate started tagging him, had him hurt, had him shoot for a takedown. So a guy like Conor, you don't get to be that good. You don't get to be that far. You don't get to be that successful. You don't get to knock out Aldo with one punch and beat the fuck out of Poirier in the first round like you called it, and beat the shit out of Seaver and stop Chad Mendez when you wanted to bet millions of dollars on it. I mean, he's a legit 100% motherfucker. But the game does not care about personalities. The game does not care about confidence. The
Sure doesn't, huh?
The interaction of fists and face and chokes and necks and kicks and bodies, it does not care about anything other than what works. So, like, when you see a loss, like a Ronda Rousey getting knocked the fuck out by Holly Holm, it does not mean that Ronda Rousey sucks. It does not mean that Holly Holm is the greatest ever. It just means the game doesn't give a fuck who you are. It doesn't care. You want to charge face first at a counter striker, and she clips you with that first punch, you're already at check. You're already at check. You got rocked like the first punch, and then you're getting beat up for 4.5 minutes after that.
Right.
And then the second round comes around. You don't even know where the fuck you are. Your ears are going, beep!
And so then if you
You can't see. Your fucking eyes are blurry.
that must be so weird.
Terrifying.
That's what I love about UFC as opposed to boxing. Nobody goes 29-0.
No.
I mean, if you go 6 in a row, that's like, wow.
Well, that's why John Jones is so spooky.
Yeah.
Nobody's beaten John Jones. John Jones has one loss, and it's a disqualification against Matt Hamill, where he was crushing him.
Yeah.
On top of him, and it's a dumb rule. It's like 12-6 elbows from on the clock face. If you drop an elbow down from 12-6, the people that made the rules thought that somehow or another was dangerous. It's no different than any other kind of elbow.
Is
It's
it still a rule?
Yeah, it's a stupid rule. It's a rule that they put in place because the people that were on the commission, this is coming from Big John McCarthy himself, the people that were on the commission at the time, they thought that if you dropped a 12-6 elbow like those ESPN karate shows, you could break bricks and shit, you could kill somebody.
Oh.
So they made it illegal. Meanwhile, it's not even 12-6, it's like 1-7. It's stupid. It's stupid.
I mean, it really come back and fight again.
It's really almost never 12-6. It's always at a slight angle. But either way, it's fucking dumb. It's a dumb rule. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. By the way, we have Nate Diaz calling into our sports podcast, Punch Drunk Sports.
Oh, do you really?
Well, fake Nick Diaz.
Oh.
Nate Diaz.
Fake.
They always call
I'm
in.
glad you had a fake one. How good are they?
The fake ones?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Really?
First of all, the accents are great, and they talk
Wow.
about the 209 so much. They're always talking about they're going pontoon boat shopping. Man, you come out. You got to hear them, man. They're great. It's Danish and O'Neill, and they're so fucking good at it. For a while, they were dating Ronda Rousey, and GSP was all upset about it because he wanted to date Ronda Rousey, and they catfished him and buried him in a refrigerator box in the desert. He got out, and now GSP's addicted to kitty litter. Kitty litter and computer spray. He's got all these addictions. Talking to the aliens all the time. They told me I missed 2 minutes of my life.
Oh, that's hilarious. Is that on YouTube anywhere?
No, not YouTube, but punchdrunksports.com. I
Gotta
think
get clips.
the Daily Motion ones. I think they're all up in Daily Motion.
And that stuff.
Yeah, we gotta
like
clip that shit and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, why don't you have clips?
I,
You just don't.
yeah. I mean, I can't give you a good reason.
This is the reason why I think the rematch is huge.
Okay.
This is why you have to do it.
Okay.
First of all, because Conor McGregor, up until that fight, is one of the most spectacular fighters ever in the history of the sport.
And people were talking about him.
Yeah, just it's the spectacle. In that sense of spectacular, the guy gets on stage and screams at the weigh-ins, and the crowd goes nuts, and the Irish flags are everywhere.
Galvanized the nation, and I don't even know what galvanized means.
It means like a coating, like
great.
when you get nails so they don't rust.
Oh, okay.
He's spectacular, right? And his results inside the octagon, other than Nate Diaz fights, have been incredibly dramatic.
Calling
and amazing.
exactly. Mid-second
Amazing.
round, I'll get him with an uppercut and knock him out. And then it's like, what?
But when a guy like Nate Diaz beats you,
Yeah.
and beats you the way he beat you, the right thing to do is to have a rematch. And this is why. Because the rematch is where the big money's at. The rematch